Hello. Okay. I'm going to be showing you. As you see, this soup is almost ready and simmering. And while we're doing that, we're doing two dishes. And this dish is the beef tips that I'm showing you is usually, it's a quick way of doing. We have different traditional of stew like dishes that we make with this spice berbere. And the one I do is I have some beef over here, and then we always start with garlic or ginger, and we have some pepper, we have tomato and beef. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my tips first, and then we'll do the kale dishes. Okay. I usually let the heat a little bit higher for the tips because of the beef needs like just to sear, and it gives that nice flavor. As I said, this is usually when you try to do something quick and eat as a family, or if you have guests coming, then we just use this. So I have here a garlic that it's traditionally just chopped by hand, or we use this kind of thing for ginger and garlic to do. And I have enough for two dishes that I'm doing here. So, and I'll start with a little bit of garlic to give this flavor. And then I have onion. So once it starts to simmer.
And did you put olive oil on the pan?
Yes, we always use olive oil. Best to use olive oil. We always use olive oil for cooking hot in terms of nutrition and the value of it. It's always good to use natural squeezed oil for our traditional. But canola, if not, people use also canola.
Can you show it with the bottom? I was gonna show it closer to the bottom.
Okay.
Oh, it's okay.
Oil?
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm gonna show them. No problem. And I have still fried beef. This is a beef, usually lean beef. Or from the top or tip of the beef is meat, and it's a good one. For stew, it's good to use like a shoulder meat from the beef. For stir fry, quick stir fry dough, you can use from the hip of eye round or top round, or even tender meat is good for this kind of food. And as well, I simmer this one. I will use olive oil. This is the oil that we use usually. You find it as you see some Arabic name or anything, but you could find it anywhere in the store and grocery store. So as it gets heat, I have the second dish. Usually, you don't wait until one is finished to start the next one. We also have a kale here. The same thing, we starting with a bit of oil. And then we have garlic here. We like a bit of more garlic in our kale to give that flavor. And at the same time, we have some mix of onion and pepper to go with that. And I'll use this one a little bit. Then once it's here, at the same time, we could do the two dishes. This one is going also. So far, it's easy for anyone. And once you see the onion oily translates, that's when you can add your carrot. You have carrot here, pepper also. Can you see first? I think I've seen my mom, for all of us to be a good cook and to know the traditional food. Our mom takes the credit. She was a good cook at home, so and she was a good guest receiver. We all got it from there because we kind of comes naturally, right? So we all learn something from our mom, our family, to bring something back home. You know, some people might think they start differently, but basically the reason I start with like a bit of onion, it gives it a flavor, and the beef, and as you see the water start to come, the flavor. Then once the beef is just kind of start to cook, just a little bit I see redness, so I just wait a little bit. In the meantime, we add onion, garlic, pepper, and carrots. Just nice for the color so far, and the nutrition part of it. And then we have here the kale. I'm gonna add the kale in there. Oops. Made a mess. Yeah.
It's kind of way to.
Yeah.
Usually use a knife.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
Yes.
So, as Tigist mentioned, you might cook, usually when you cook for families, it's a big, like anywhere from 10 to 15 people will cook at home. And if you don't use it that same day, it's always have leftover to use the next day. Some of our stew like meat dishes, it's great when you cook it and it tastes better the next day as well, right? Any stew. So, yeah.
I figured most of my dishes,
Yeah.
I eat and then the next day I eat it. It's like,
yeah, any
is it
stew
a
like,
gift?
yes. Soup, and when they marinate together, and the next day is just much better. So I just let it cook, and then I'll come back to my beef. Once I have this much, I just wanted to add some our berbere. So the berbere, it's depending how much you like. If you add more, it's a little more spicy. If you're less of it, then you can do.
Is it the spiciness?
Yeah, it could be spicy. The amount of tablespoon or tablespoon you add can be spicy. So we just add just there. As you see, it's just turning in color. In this case, just I'm trying to make it medium. Like our stew, like beef, like a red one, it's more deeper, so we add more because it's cooking more, and you let it simmer for longer time. So the more you add, the more needs to cook in order to have taken that the heat from your mouth. Should I add all of it? I'm gonna add all of it. Until the serving. Yeah. No, you take them. Oh. Okay. So by putting a lid, just helps it to steam and cook the same time. So you leave it under. Okay, thank you.
So is it on a high, or do you have to reduce the
high? Because it needs the water to come out, then I will check it again. It needs to be lower. Once it comes to kind of boil, point, we'll do that. And in the meantime, we'll just see this one. Right at this point, we just put, as I say, this is a fast dish. Like Chinese, they call it stir fry. For us, it's like chips. It's the same. So yeah, add your tomato.
Okay.
This is the green jalapeno pepper and the small red, yellow pepper. Nice for the color and flavor. And then we have different spice here. This is the black pepper. We just put it in there. And Tigist was talking about this fajita, just to top up the flavor. So basically that, and then we need a salt. That depends on the person. So beside with this, what we do is I probably talk about a little bit of our father.
What's the name of the other spice again? Fajita, or what is it?
Sorry?
What's the name of the spice on the side? Fajita? Is that the chickpea thing, or which one is that?
This one, yeah.
Oh, you mean this
next
one?
to the black pepper. You said you're using black pepper, and what's in the other one?
This one is fajita, right?
See, this is how it is. It's in that picture.
Oh,
Vegeta.
Fajita, okay.
Vegeta.
How do you spell that? How do you spell that?
E-G-V. V as in veg. E. G.
G-E-T-A.
G-E-T-E.
G-E-T-A.
You can find it in Italian.
Okay, something like that, I think. I'm not sure if I'm misspelling it correctly.
Yeah.
And that's in the Ethiopian Eritrean store too?
No, mostly you find it in Italian.
Oh, mostly you find it in Italian. Okay.
Italian.
Italian store, yeah.
But yeah, they have it in Italian. And yeah, I have it in the picture with the soup. So you'll see it. And Superstore and anywhere else, actually. And you can buy the one without sorry, MSG. You can buy it without MSG. So this way it's out. And I have it.
The flavor going really looks good.
Can they see it okay so far?
I think they can.
Yeah.
See, did I see everything?
We do. It looks good. It's looking great. I mean, I can almost smell it from here in Zoom. So what are you adding? Is that garlic or ginger?
So just add a little bit of ginger in it.
Okay, ginger, all right.
And black pepper.
Black pepper, all right.
And I have the Tigist's favorite thing here, the bacon.
Okay. And I was apparently naive about vegetable spice. Somebody, one of our participants reminded me that it was a common spice in Europe.
Yeah. That's funny.
Joyce says it looks amazing. She wishes she was there.
Joyce, yeah. So at this point, you need a little bit of water to the tips you could add, but just I'll wait until this finished. The color is there, the nutrition is there, and pretty much you just taste the salt and the pepper. And one more thing that we do is we have, I wanted to show you, this is like a compound butter. This is This is a compound butter is made with real butter. We melt it, and then we just slowly simmer it. And usually in a cooking culinary, we call it compound butter. So once it's like that, you add the different spices. This is my mom's special. Usually, she add the turmeric, fenugreek, black seed, grounded. So basically, people who ever liked it, they just combine and cardamom. I think cardamom and fenugreek is the main ingredient in that. So they just add that, bring it just to simmer and cool it down. The water is pretty much out. It's just compound water. So this is just to finish up our dishes in any kind of dish. Dishes like
So
this.
this is homemade then, right? It's not store-bought. Your mom makes it herself.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, but it's a real butter, like non-salted, unsalted butter.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna add some water. Maybe I'll just. We'll just add a little water as it gets dry. By this time, it's pretty much finished. Just let it simmer. All we need to add is a rosemary as a herb. The rosemary we have is here.
Okay.
Rosemary that we have is find it in a store. This is just good for its beef, and then we use it for tips, for quick stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it has nice flavor. So basically, if I could do it in here. Just for anyone that maybe use it, but just you take this out like this, the leaf, so you don't put it. Sometimes people just throw it as that for soup reason or anything, but you could also just cut it. This might be just enough. So you use that just kind of. You could just, after you trim it, you could just put it as that, but by chopping it, you bring also the flavor out of the herb if you're using it right away. So use it like that right away. And then we just let the heat reduce. Just we add butter to finish up, and we just pretty much stir it up and low cook. This is kind of ready. So we just kind of, oh, this is not the one. Yeah, doesn't have it. Yeah. And then the meantime is by this time I can deflate the water reduce. Until it's dry, so I'll just
So like by boiling it, it also cooks the carrots and
yes,
the rest
yeah,
of the other.
just first you just let marinate with its own water, its own vegetable water.
Yeah.
Then just you add a little bit as you go, so it's not too much of water.
Okay.
So, and then the same thing with this. I will just add the black pepper
The
and then
vegeta.
the vegeta, just to give it. I'll wait probably for the salt because that has also a salt, so I don't want to see more.
Oops. We see add more pepper and more jalapenos.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you add now?
We just add jalapeno pepper, and then we add a little bit of the red pepper, the julienne red pepper, just for the color and flavor of it. And I'll add just a little bit of water, and then let it simmer right at this point. And then in the meantime, so we'll simmer pretty much. By the time I'll give it about 5 or so minutes, and then once it will be done. So if it needs a little bit moisture, we always add, but the moisture has to be this, you know. So when you eat it, you could eat it with rice or without traditional food. It looks good in color and nutrition is there. I think we're done. And just let me add a bit of water.
The other thing that we wanted to add is about injera.
Yeah.
The injera is made from a flour called teff. It's not a grain, it's a grass family.
Oh, okay.
So no gluten, and so typical for celiacs, and very light on digestion. And sorry, the spices a lot. So to make it is a bit challenging, it needs to be fermented for about 3 days before we bake it. So, but very highly beneficial for digestion and health-wise is very, very light. And back home, that's the staple, basically. People make injera, bread, and flat bread as well. They just can eat it like a bread. Here, because we don't find cheap, it's very expensive, and the process is very it's a bit longer than we modify injera with barley, or people make it with barley, corn, and sorghum or millet. So that's the modified one. But barley is partly the big part when we don't use egg by itself. So barley can be mixed with corn, and sometimes even rice flour. People make their own kind of injera. But when we make teff by itself, usually it takes about 3 to 4 days fermenting, and we have to finish eating it in about 2 days or 3 days. We'll get started to get dry because there's no gluten, and the storage is so hard to store it like in the fridge. It just gets dry so fast. Or we can just put it in the sauce and we make softer and eat it with the spoon, or we can eat it with finger as well. But we have to put it in the sauce that we make, like a stew like, and then we have to make it softer.
So do the stores sell the injera bread since it's a little bit hard to make?
Yeah, they do. There's a lot of injera and different variety of injera everywhere, actually. Injera is something they sell everywhere.
So if they want to, you know, get the true experience, because you know, the Ethiopian restaurants I've been to, definitely injera is the part, you know, it's the focus of every meal. Everything is on top of it, etc. So if they don't want to, you know, risk making it on their own, or it takes too long, they can always go buy it from the store.
Yes, they can. And the good news is for those who want to avoid gluten or celiac, wheat-free diet, still they can order to get teff injera, but you have to give them ahead order. Usually you have to kind of make it special and sell it right away. But the other injeras, they have a bit longer shelf life as opposed to teff injera. So yes, it can be found every store now. Injera is one of the main thing they sell. And Tigist said she sent you all the addresses where you can find the injera and the spices and all the traditional like coffee, all items that you if you're interested to make anything. So yeah, the addresses you send it to them already, right?
Yeah, I guess what I can say is, if anyone remembers where Catholic Social Service was, the old one, that one is the biggest. It's just by the train, like by the 107 and 105 Street.
Oh, right there. Okay.
Right there. That one says Habesha, which means Ethiopian and Eritrean. So, but you have stores every corner,
Yeah, on
right?
107.
On 107 up to 124th Street. And it's all Ethiopian stores, and they all sell injera and all these products. If you want, you can buy it from them, but they're everywhere right now. Like there's at least on 107 a street, there's one on 116 in front of the Seven Heaven is called, in front of the car dealer on 116 and 107. If you go Adam's store, it's on 105 and 108, no, 107 and 108. You name it, like every corner now you will find. But the biggest one is now where it is used to be Catholic Social Service, which is 107 and 105 or 104-ish. So that's where you could find every product. And of course the injera nowadays, some of them will label it saying that it's gluten free, which means they're not adding rice or any other thing. Then you could actually look at it. Usually it goes fast. So you could actually go in the morning and then grab it.
So the one that's gluten free is the one that
which is the best. Like you will see the labeling. Like here, if you look at it, it says, and then it shows you everything.
Okay.
So that's what it is. So now we are
Tigist, I have one more question from our audience. So how about the large trays where you're serving the food traditionally? Hey, Lay, is that also available at the Habesha store?
Everything is there.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so
I'm sure they can hear you. Yes, perfect.
They will tell you. Sometimes some of them might have a hard time to explain, but you'll see it all. you'll find it there.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
see.
And so now we'll start to eat, and then we'll actually focus on coffee. While we eat, we'll have coffee, so you could enjoy that with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll dish it out. Yeah.
Mm.
In
So you,
So
you wanted,
it's ready
yeah.
once.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kale is pretty much done as the seeds nice and moist, and it has the color and all that. So it change a bit of color, you can see. So, and then we have our soup is ready as well. It's not, and our fruits as well. So everything is done. Just looking at it and how much time it takes, I think it's not very much as long as you have everything, every ingredient ready and ready to go. Once you the best thing is to get ready what you need and cut and chop up. Once you have that, to put it in a pot and get it going, it doesn't take much. So